What if you could live right on a racetrack? Not just visiting for a weekend event, but waking up in a loft above your garage, stepping downstairs, and rolling straight out onto the track. Surrounded by other car enthusiasts, it becomes more than storage. It becomes a lifestyle. One built around speed, design, and community. This was the vision for Trackside Lofts, a real project I designed for a client who already owned the racetrack itself. A retired professional race car driver, his goal was to create a place where people could connect their passion for cars with modern architecture and everyday living. He wanted this to be more than just a pit lane or a place to store vehicles. It was about creating an environment where race culture could thrive. The design included multiple garage lofts, a VIP residence on pit lane, and a community hub with spaces to gather, swim, and watch the races. We'll look at the design in pieces, but at the end of the video I'll take you through a complete virtual walkthrough so you can experience what it would actually feel like to live here. The project was imagined on a private racetrack in Texas already owned by the client. With his background in professional racing, he understood what makes this lifestyle appealing in a way few others could. For him, the racetrack wasn't just a strip of asphalt, it was an entire culture. A place where people could share stories, work on cars late into the night, and come together around a common passion. From the very beginning, the vision was bigger than just garages. The master plan was carefully organized around 7 primary buildings, each with a distinct role. 5 garage loft blocks created the backbone of the community, giving residents a place to live above their cars. A single VIP loft was positioned directly on pit lane, offering unmatched proximity to the racing action. And at the heart of the site, a community hub was designed to bring people together. A bar, a pool, and a lounge space that all looked directly out over the track. The goal wasn't to make a traditional development. It was to create something closer to a neighborhood, one built entirely around speed, architecture, and community. The backbone of Trackside Lofts was a series of 5 garage loft buildings, each designed to bring living and car culture under one roof. At the ground level, every unit opened directly into a private garage space, large enough not only for cars, but also for tools, lifts, and anything an enthusiast might need. And above that, a loft apartment offered a place to relax, unwind, and look out towards the track. The design was kept deliberately modern and simple. Polished concrete floors, steel staircases, exposed structure, but balanced with warm touches of wood and glass. The idea was to make the garage feel like part of the home, not just a separate utility space. Living above your car wasn't just a novelty here, it was the central idea. To give each building its own identity, the garage lofts were named after famous racetracks from around the world. It was a way to tie the community back to motorsport history, while adding a touch of personality to every corner of the project. Imagine saying you lived at the Nürburgring building. It gave this entire place a sense of story. The 6th building, something entirely unique. A VIP garage loft positioned directly on pit lane. This wasn't just about the proximity to the action, but it was about the immersion. Residents here could step out of their door and be immediately in the middle of the race day experience, watching cars scream by just a few feet away. It was meant to be the crown jewel of the development, a one-of-a-kind loft, unlike anything else. At the heart of the master plan was this community building. This isn't just an amenity, it was designed to be the soul of the project. Inside was a lounge and bar for gatherings, casual dinners, and late-night conversations. Just outside, a swimming pool stretched along the edge of the building, oriented so you could sit with friends, take a dip, but also be able to watch the cars roll into pit lane as the sun sets over the track. The goal was to create a balance, a place where you could wrench on cars in the morning, push yourself on track in the afternoon, and then end the evening surrounded by friends with music, food, and a view of the racing action. It was about living car culture as a lifestyle, not just a hobby. Taken together, these 7 buildings formed more than a development. They were the framework for a community. Every decision, from the loft layouts to the pit lane residents to the naming of the blocks, it was designed to reinforce the same idea, that cars can be at the center of not only our hobbies, but our homes and our friendships. So what would life here actually feel like? Imagine starting the morning in your loft, sunlight spilling in through tall windows. You walk downstairs into the garage where your car is waiting, not parked miles away, not stored in a warehouse, but right there, beneath your home. Within minutes, you're out on the track. The roar of engines becoming the morning soundtrack, and the boundary between living space and racing space begins to disappear. For the residents, this wasn't about a quick weekend visit to the track. This was everyday life. After a few sessions, the garage becomes a workshop. You tune, adjust, and tinker alongside friends who are doing the same. The community was imagined as a place where ideas, tools, and stories were shared, as naturally as mills. It's not just about horsepower, it's about connection. And when the day winds down, the rhythm shifts. Residents gather at the pool or the bar, watching cars stream into pit lane as the sun drops behind the grandstands. Lanterns flicker on, laughter fills the air, and the racetrack becomes less of a circuit and more of a backdrop for friendship. This was the dream of Trackside Lofts, a place where living, racing, and community all blended together into something you couldn't find anywhere else. For me as an architect, Trackside Lofts represents one of those rare projects where my personal passions and professional work aligned. It was a chance to take the idea of a dream garage and scale it all the way up into a community. Not just for one person, but for dozens of enthusiasts who could all share in the same lifestyle. The design's complete, but the project hasn't been built yet. But that's the reality of architecture. Some visions take years before they come to life, and some remain waiting for the right moment. But even in this stage, it continues to feel inspiring. It shows us what's possible when we start with a love for cars and let design build a world around it. Trackside Lofts may not yet exist in physical form, but in many ways, that's what makes it powerful. It stands as a reminder that architecture isn't only about the projects we see rise out of the ground. It's about the visions that live on the paper, in renderings, and in imagination. Let's see what it feels like to live in the Trackside Lofts. As you arrive, the experience begins at a decorative gated entrance, marking the threshold into the community. The architecture sets the tone immediately, bold, modern, designed to celebrate the cars within. From there, the main drive aisle carries you past the front of the garage loft buildings on one side and the back of the VIP lofts on the other. This access was designed as the backbone of the community, a place where movement, sound, and energy are always present. Entering one of the VIP lofts from the rear garage door, you find yourself in a private space built directly around the car. A staircase rises up into the loft above, where living space and racing culture merge seamlessly. But the true drama comes as you pass through the front garage door, opening directly onto pit lane itself. Just a few feet away, cars roll in and out, an experience no other residence could offer. Turning left, the perspective carries you down pit lane towards the community building, which stands as the centerpiece of the Trackside Lofts. You approach from the pool terrace, and you enter through the outdoor patio designed for gatherings, where residents could lounge by the water while watching cars finish their laps. Inside, a bar anchors the ground floor, a casual, social heart of the project. As you go upstairs, a lounge and terrace open to expansive views of the track, turning the community building into an ideal place to gather, relax, and celebrate the culture of racing together. As you exit, the journey concludes as you pass under a bold architectural feature that frames the transition back to pit lane. It's here that the entire vision of Trackside Lofts comes together. Architecture, cars, and community in one seamless experience. For me, this project will always represent the dream garage lifestyle. Designed, ready, and waiting to be brought to life. But what about you? Would you live here? And if you did, what would your perfect day look like? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more projects like it, be sure to subscribe, and check out my Patreon where I share behind-the-scenes sketches, renderings, and uncut design process videos. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, and as always, design with intent.